Now, last Thursday, during the State of the Union address, the father of one of the Marines killed in the Abbey Gate bombing in Afghanistan at Karzai Airport during Biden's chaotic withdrawal had some choice words for Joe Biden. Take a look.
The year before I took office, murder rates went up 30%. 30% they went up. The biggest increase in history. It was then, through my American Rescue Plan.
Incredibly, this Gold Star father, Steve Nikoui, was actually arrested afterwards and charged by police with the disturbance of public peace. By the way, it carries up to 90 days in jail. Steve joins us now for an exclusive interview along with California Congressman Darrell Issa. First, sir, your son was 20 years old. I'm so sorry at your loss. And frankly, to me, it's understandable how you feel. And it doesn't, I still believe in free speech. You are one man, a grieving father that should not be arrested for one minor little moment at a State of the Union address. I find that offensive. I think Joe Biden by now should have spoken out and said, leave this Gold Star father alone. I wouldn't expect it from him. He probably doesn't even know his name or the name of the other 12 people killed. But what's the status of where you are? And I'm sorry about your loss. With all my heart, I mean that.
Well, thank you for having me, Sean. And I want to thank the man next to me, Congressman Issa. He's part of a group that has helped us, the other Gold Star parents, since June, when we didn't know if we had any chance. He's part of 4 congressmen that we affectionately call the 4 horsemen, which is Issa, Waltz, Mast, and Mills, all led by Chairman McCall, who've helped to try to get us answers. And we wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for them. So I want to thank Darrell for, helping us. And also I want to bring light to the fact that on the 19th, General McKenzie and General Miley, who we believe, are the main causes of the evacuations debacle, they're going to be at Congress. And, these are the ones that said that there was nothing that they could have done and they didn't see anything wrong with the way that this evacuation was handled. And, I need all Americans to be, watching that, be a part of that, and, Democrats and Republicans to finally speak out against it so we can get some closure to this terrible thing that's happened.
Now, you lost your son, and then you had another son who committed suicide a year later near Kareem's grave. I read this, and my jaw dropped to the floor because I don't know
I appreciate
how parents
you bringing that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I want to be clear, and I want to say his name. So, I was not his dad. He's been in my life since he was 2 years old. His name was Dakota James Halverson. And, his brother loved him very much. He was very close to him. And, he was devastated by Kareem's missing or Kareem losing his life, and ultimately affected him. And he took his life at a park that we were planning to name after Kareem. So it's, been devastating for his mother. It's been devastating for his siblings, for his brother, for his sisters. And the effect of this president, just like Stephen Miller said, this is a reactionary president. And the poor Riley family, they're killing my kid, they're killing their kid. And what are you going to do, America? You're going to wait till they kill your kid? Because, he's a bumper car hitting everything on his way out. And the only one that's going to be left to pick up the pieces is us.
Sean,
Congressman Issa,
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
You've already said the name more often than the president. Steve's already said his son's name more often than the president. One of the reasons that there's no closure is there's never been a real acknowledgement by this president. And the 5 Gold Star family members who were in attendance that night, Steve being one of the stalwart leaders, They were there because they're asking for closure. And what you're hearing Steve, as a grieving father, say is he can't bring his son back. He can't bring his other son back. What he can do is make sure some other family doesn't suffer this way. And that's all he's asking the president to do. And that's what the president isn't willing to do. He'll talk about Beau's death, but he won't talk about these 13 or how we keep it from happening again and again.
I think that's such a good point. Mr. Nikoui, I don't even have words for people like yourself and families like yours. And I hope, Congressman Issa, I hope that you and your fellow congressmen can get together and somebody get the police off this guy's back. Can we at least do that? Can we at least, let this guy have free speech rights after all he's been through? Do we really need to pile on with a legal system? Do you think we're going to be able to help him that way at least?
Sean, we've already contacted and we're following up with a letter to show the history of other people with far less reason to have an outburst who have not been charged, and that's under presidents as recent as President Trump. So we think it's only just that there be equal treatment, if not less. I've known Steve now since that tragic day and the first time we met, and we've been together many times. He is someone who is grieving. He prays every day for the other men and women of the armed forces, especially the Marines. And that is the reason he was willing to come on his own cost to the State of the Union. And it's the reason he's here tonight, is that it is so important that these young Marines and soldiers not have died in vain.
Mr. Nikoui, I can tell you this.
And Sean,
we have a really special audience that watch this show. Yeah, sir?
I'm sorry, go on.
No, just that I know everyone hearing you can understand the pain you're going through. You wanted to say, sir?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I wanted to be clear what I had said, because the only time I ever watched it was right now. I don't watch anything that I've ever been on, and I don't have a social media that I look at, but I wanted to be clear because I think there's some misunderstanding what I said. I said, do you remember Abbey Gate? And when I did that, I was praying, and, because I was looking at this spectacle that I was seeing below me, and I was listening to him, and I was praying, hoping that maybe at some point prior to this that he had mentioned, Afghanistan or our kids, because all the Gold Star parents were thinking that that might be a possibility, and it wasn't happening.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he said something about kids and then something about being safe, I don't even know what I did. I didn't even do that. I just jumped up and I said, do you remember Abbey Gate? It was like the Lord convicted me. The Holy Spirit got in me. And when I did it, I paused. I was like, oh, what did I do, And then right after that, I said, United States Marines, Kareem M. Nikoui, 2nd Battalion, 1st Marines. Because I've been waiting for 3 years for this man to say my son's name into this chamber, and he never did. But on this day, his name was said. Well,
I know. Please know our prayers are with you and your family and all the other families as well. God bless you. And I mean that with all my heart. Congressman Issa, thank you for what you're doing as well. Thank you. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.